In this video, we'll discuss the arrest of Hells Angels bikie Angelo Pandeli in Dubai and the hurdles in extraditing him to Australia. We'll also delve into a Queensland arson case connected to the Comancheros, report on the violent clash at Melbourne's Love Machine nightclub, update you on Tarek Zahed's latest court appeal, and wrap up with Dean Martin's successful battle against deportation. So let's get started with the first update, which is on one of Australia's most wanted man, Angelo Pandeli, 52. A notorious crime figure in Australia's illicit drug smuggling operations and a high-ranking member of the Hells Angels MC, who has been detained in Dubai. His detention, including who detained him and why, remains shrouded in uncertainty, with speculation suggesting he might have been apprehended under an Interpol red notice. Pandeli, who has lived in Dubai since leaving Australia in 2018, has leveraged his wealth and connections to become a powerful figure in the region. The capture of the big hucks, Comanchero bosses like Mark Buttle and Duax Ngakuru and many others in Turkey paved the way for Pandeli's rise to power over $1 billion drug empire, and has also made him the #1 focus of the Australian authorities. Pandeli is alleged to be part of a syndicate responsible for bringing drugs worth $1.5 billion into Australia annually, according to the Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission. Despite his departure from Australia, he has remained under close watch as he moved through the Middle East, Europe, and Asia. He is also one of several high-profile Australian crime figures who have bought properties and settled with their families in Dubai. Moreover, the 81's boss is credited with uniting leaders of different bikie clubs and organized crime figures to conduct illicit dealings using Dubai as their operational base. While Australian authorities have long targeted Pandeli, the prospect of extraditing him back to Australia is riddled with complications. Legal experts highlight that Australia's past reluctance to extradite individuals to the UAE, largely due to concerns about the legal system and human rights practices there, could make the process particularly challenging in Pandeli's case. Australia's reluctance to extradite individuals to the UAE stems from concerns about the differences in the legal and human rights systems between the two countries. Although both nations have a bilateral extradition agreement, Australia has historically been cautious about extraditing individuals to countries where they believe the legal processes may not meet the same standards as those in Australia. One major issue is the human rights record of the UAE. Australia, like many other Western countries, has stringent guidelines regarding extradition to ensure that the individual being extradited will receive a fair trial and that their rights will be protected. The UAE's judicial system has been criticized for its harsh penalties and limited transparency, which has led to Australia's reluctance to extradite individuals there. However, it will be interesting to see how Australian authorities navigate the complex legal and diplomatic hurdles to bring one of their most wanted figures back to face justice. The outcome could set a significant precedent for future extraditions from the UAE, especially for high-profile criminals like Pandeli. The second update from Queensland involves an ongoing investigation by the detectives from the organised crime gangs group into a July 20 arson attack at a Heritage Park home. CCTV footage captured a man arriving in a white Toyota Corolla, using a jerry can to set the property ablaze, and then fleeing the scene. While the fire caused significant damage, fortunately, no one was home at the time. The arson is believed to be connected to a July 11 attempted robbery at a nearby property. In the broader context of organized crime, Queensland police recently arrested 2 members of the Comanchero motorcycle club in connection to these incidents. A 26-year-old man from Broadbeach was arrested on August 24 after a search revealed ammunition, cash, and drugs. He now faces charges including arson, illegal possession of firearms, and dealing in the proceeds of crime. Additionally, another 30-year-old Comanchero member was arrested on August 11 for similar offenses. This case is part of a larger crackdown on organized crime and outlaw motorcycle clubs in Australia, with police making multiple arrests across the country in recent months. These arrests often involve serious charges related to arson, firearms offenses, and other criminal activities. The next update is from Cairns, where a man by the name of James Paul Travers, a 30-year-old Cairns car detailing business owner, has been fined $1,800 for consistently consorting with Mongols MC members despite police warnings. Travers, who owns Elysium Auto Spa, met with 3 bikie members a total of 17 times, including infamous Mongols bikie Jesse Stephen Ashworth, who is facing assault charges. Police raids on the Mongols recently led to 6 arrests and 23 charges. Although Travers has no prior criminal record, he was present during a street fight outside the Covergirls Lounge involving club members, though he was not involved in the altercation. His defense argued that the meetings were mostly social and that he was unaware of any criminal activity. Magistrate considered the repeated police warnings and the associated street fight in her sentencing but chose not to record a conviction. The next update is on a 39-year-old man, who is suspected of being a Comanchero bikie, and was arrested in Tarniat on August 27 in connection with 2 assaults. The man allegedly became aggressive and assaulted a security guard on August 13 after being stopped from entering a store on Chapel Street. He is also suspected of involvement in a brawl outside the Love Machine nightclub in Prahran on August 18, which left a 23-year-old man with stab wounds and another man unconscious. Police have released CCTV footage of the incident and are seeking information from witnesses. Security footage shows a group of men grappling with a victim outside Malvern Road, before chasing him down the street on August 18. The footage captures the chaotic scene as the men surround the victim, with one appearing to throw a punch. As the confrontation escalates, the victim attempts to flee but is pursued by the attackers, who continue their assault further down the road. The incident is part of a series of violent events linked to the nightclub, raising concerns about its safety and the influence of organized crime in the area. It's not the first time Love Machine has been targeted by violent activity. The club has been the site of multiple violent incidents, most notably a drive-by shooting on April 14, 2019. The attack, believed to be linked to bikie clubs, resulted in 2 deaths of the security guards and 4 injuries. The shooting was motivated by revenge, following a dispute involving the perpetrators and a prior altercation at the club. The involvement of bikie clubs and the nightclub's refusal to pay protection money are considered significant factors behind the violence. More recently, the nightclub was in news when its owners were slapped with a $20,000 fine and warned they could face much harsher sanctions if they breached the venue's licensing conditions. The popular nightclub and its management were put on notice in a decision by the Victorian Liquor Commission after it expressed great concern about the licensee's conduct. The next update is on Dean Martin, the uncle of Richmond AFL star Dustin Martin, who has avoided deportation to New Zealand after proving his Aboriginal heritage. Martin, a former Rebels bikie and CFMEU delegate, was released from Melbourne Immigration Detention Centre after providing evidence that confirmed his membership in Tasmania's Mannequin community. This evidence led to the cancellation of an impending Supreme Court hearing. Martin's release follows a 2020 High Court ruling that non-citizen Aboriginal people cannot be deported from Australia, a stance upheld by the current federal government. Martin's brother Shane was deported to New Zealand in 2018, where he later passed away. The next bit of news is on Tarek Zahed, the notorious Comanchero National Sergeant-at-Arms, who is keeping the courts and his lawyer busy yet again. In his latest move, Zahed has slammed another appeal onto the docket, challenging his 3.5-year prison sentence for hindering the investigation into the 2014 murder of underworld figure Yusuf Assoum. Filed on August 29, 2024, the appeal argues that his sentence should be slashed due to ongoing inadequate medical treatment for injuries sustained in a previous assassination attempt, and glaring discrepancies between his sentence and that of his brother. Zahed's defense claims his involvement was far less severe, making a reduction in his sentence only fair. However, the Crown prosecutor isn't buying it, arguing that the original sentence appropriately reflects the gravity of Zahed's actions. As the court mulls over this latest bid, a 3-judge panel now has to decide if Zahed's health and the so-called injustice between the brothers' sentences really warrant yet another change in his fate. If you're looking for more thrilling and edgy bikie updates, don't hesitate, whack that subscribe button, spread and share the video, hit that like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments. And for the true grid Spartans out there, consider sending a super thanks or buy us a coffee to show some love. Your support keeps us going and the channel thriving, especially since most of our videos aren't monetized due to all the crime-related content. Stay tuned, stay curious, stay awesome, and take care. Wu-Tang.
No regrets, no time to spare. Motorcycle